Hi boys and girls, we're going to go over some of the rules of multiplication that you will be using that could be helpful for you. So we call them properties, but they're actually what they are, they're the rules that we follow when we multiply. So one says that a number times 0 is always going to be 0. Okay, this is probably something that you already know, I'm sure, but we're just kind of reviewing. Okay, so anytime you times it by 0, you get your 0. Anytime that you times it by 1, you're just going to get the number itself. Okay, it's just a little something to keep in mind. Okay, another rule that we have is it's a property. We actually call it the commutative property, and that is that we can change when we're multiplying, we can change the order of the numbers, and it's still always going to be equal. Okay, so for instance, 2 times 7 is always going to be equal to 7 times 2, because both of these are 14. 2 times 7 is 14. 7 times 2 is 14. They're always going to be equal. So you could do 3 times 6, and that's going to be the same as 6 times 3, because both 3 times 6 and 6 times 3 are both 18. You could do 9 times 8 equals 8 times 9. Both 9 times 8 is 72, and 8 times 9 is 72. So anytime you have the same numbers, you can change the order and you will still get the same number when we're talking about multiplication. Another property, and we talked about this for addition, is the associative property. And you don't really need to know the name of it. You just need to be able to recognize that it is a rule. So the associative property says that as long as we keep the numbers the same in the same order, we can group them differently, but they're still going to be equal. Such as this right here. We kept the numbers in the same order, 2 times 6 times 3, 2 times 6 times 3. But here we put the parentheses around 2 times 6. Here we put the parentheses around 6 times 3. When we solve an equation, we always do what's in the parentheses first. So this 6 times 2 is 12. Times 3 gives you 36. And over here, this is 18. So now we have 2 times 18. 2 times 18 is 36. So the same order, just different groupings shown with parentheses. Another example would be 4 times 2 times 3. Put the parentheses here. And over here we would have 4 times 2 times 3, and the parentheses would be here. We don't have to work this out. We can say we know this is equal because the numbers are in the same exact order. The only thing that changed is the parentheses. And the last one that I want to share with you, and I shared this with you already, is it's actually called the distributive property, but you don't need to know that. But it's the fourth rule, or the fourth property that we're going to talk about. And it says that we can decompose or break apart the numbers and still get the same answer when we're multiplying. For instance, 7 times 6. Okay, if you don't know what 7 times 6 is, you could, if you know what 7 times 5 is, you could solve 7 times 5 and then just add on 7 times 1. This 7 times 5 plus 7 times 1 is the same as just 7 times 6. I'll show you. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 1 is 7. 35 plus 7 equals 42. And what's 7 times 6? Well, it's 42. And 42 equals 42. What we did is we took this 6 and we broke it into 5 and 1. So trying that again, if we have 8 times 7, okay, if we don't know what that is, we could break this 7 apart and say, okay, well, I know what 8 times 5 is, so I'm going to do that first. And then there's we still need 2 more 8s, so we're going to do 8 times 2. So what we did here is we just took this 7 and broke it apart. We broke it into 5 and 2. And we multiplied the 8 by the 5 and then multiplied it by the 2. So it's just taking this number apart and multiplying however it is that you broke the number apart. It doesn't matter. You could do 8 times 4 plus 8 times 3, as long as those numbers that you break apart equal up to 7. And that's just another strategy that you could use, especially if you don't know your multiplication facts and you're trying to find a way to figure out a fact, like 8 times 7. You know your 8 times 5. Okay, so it's just another strategy that might come in handy for you.